Okay.
There we
There's
go.
the voice of.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order at 6:34. Anything to add or remove to the agenda?
Ice
Add ice cream
cream
scooping and
pen
tent
setup
Yes.
and remove heat pump update.
Secretary's reports. Anything to add, change?
It is
Trish's
not in your
excellent
packet.
minutes?
Trish sent it ahead of time so we could all read it in the comfort of our homes.
When did the minutes come out?
5 days
So
after.
Trish usually responds to the email when I post the agenda, which was Wednesday of last week. So usually she responds to that
I
with.
think I missed them because I was looking for them today. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll look. in my
But I think
email.
Trish
I
sends
usually
them.
wait for Amber, well, when I used to, with Janice, whenever she would send out the agenda for this meeting, I would reply with the minutes.
But don't you usually send?
I don't have to think about who's on the email.
She sent
Yeah,
them
yeah.
to us.
Oh, okay.
And
I
they
only
have to
send
be
them to you.
posted.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Nancy, did you get the agenda email last week?
I did get the
Okay,
agenda.
just making sure that you
Yeah.
have gotten added into my list of.
And I don't know if we wanna just. Remove the things. In the minutes from last time. Just to. Without anything, with anything on.
I'll look.
We had a few motions.
Yeah, we can have a few motions. We elected Susan as vice chair.
Thank you, Susan.
And have lots of updates out. Finances and. Maybe nothing more stuff. We authorized $100 for the book sale banner. We made a motion to fund the emergency callback items. And. That's pretty much it.
Great, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as recorded. So moved. Any questions?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Trish. Emily is gonna give us Kevin's treasurer's report.
Yeah, does Kevin usually give us the two different amounts of the
Yeah.
two different investments? Okay.
Mhm.
Trish, I'll pass this to you once I'm done reading it. The larger bucket is presently at $302,988.10. And the smaller one is $65,489.42 for a total of $369,105.82. Can you pass that to Trish? It's a handwritten stuff.
Library director's report.
This past month has contained so many things. I'm like, I'm looking at this being like, did this, wait, oh, it's because I printed out the wrong one. That's why I'm like, wow, this seems so long ago. Wait, hold on. No, wait.
I
April.
think you forgot to pick the right date.
I think you just changed the date because the content looks.
Right, yeah, the context's right.
April.
Yeah, late April. Okay, no, you're right.
Mhm.
So
You're-
to-
You're all
together.
right.
You could put the right date.
Okay, yes, the only thing wrong is hopefully the date 5/20/2025. Yeah, I can't believe all of this stuff happened in the last month. We really packed it in, like just from all sources, the staff and definitely the board. But we had such a great retreat, which I know we're going to talk about really soon. We had a number of great programs, including Roger Albee. Thank you to Jim and Carolyn for hosting that. And Rich Grumbine did his presentation about local wildflowers. Thank you, Ben, for hosting that one. We did the Dahlia tuber swap, which people requested that we do a fall one as well, because even though there was a really large competing event and we still had a ton of takers for tubers, which was great. The Landmark College students came. I said that they are joining us, but they did join us on the 26th of April for a cool activity about glaciers. And Virgil, our therapy dog, held his book release party in
Oh,
the
yeah.
youth department on the 23rd.
Yeah, I drove by, I couldn't believe how many.
Yeah, right.
cars.
A lot of he has a lot of fans. All of the Kern Hatton kids all came wearing matching shirts that said "We love Virgil."
That's super awesome.
And some of the he goes and visits like the fire department and first aid and folks like that. So some of those folks came. It was really, yeah, it was very well attended. Virgil and Abigail. I kind of knew that he had friends in a lot of different places, but
Mhm.
no, it was great.
Who is his human?
Abigail Littledale.
Littlefield.
Littlefield, thank you.
Right.
And she worked at Landmark, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a local educator and she has a lot of fans herself. So it's not just her adorable dogs, of whom there are many. Virgil is just one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, his brothers and sisters are in the book, or I think they're all brothers, but you guys can, I encourage you to read the book, which he didn't write, and I need to stop saying
Really?
that. Yeah, he didn't write the book. Well, we've been reading to him for so long. I thought that maybe there was some guise of him writing the book, but no, like no one's even pretending. Yeah, humans wrote the book. And Emily Weinberg did a reading from her new youth book, The Feather of Truth. We also had a great Peeps Diorama contest. We had 21 entries this year. And it was very robust and we had a nice party and ceremony at the end. And then Howie Peterson did a travel talk about visiting Mexico, a place that he goes really frequently. Coming up this week, we have the artist Fina Pipia. She's visiting Sandglass and doing a performance with them. So she's doing a performance here on Thursday, or it's not a performance, it's a hands-on magic workshop. And it's appropriate for ages 6 and up. So it sounds really good. I'll be there. We're going to do our fire and s'mores night on Thursday, June 5th. And there'll be a sampler talk to go along with a sampler exhibit that we're doing as part of Vermont's observation of the 250th anniversary of the country.
Like embroidered.
Yeah, the schoolgirl sampler specifically. There's a woman that's a textile conservator that organized a statewide sampler driving tour, and we're a stop on it. And this coming week, we're going to have some actual samplers here, and then we're going to have a bunch of reproductions, like just printed out photographs of samplers on the wall for people that didn't want to lend us their samplers because they're,
I'm sorry.
really? Well, if you don't tell anyone. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
didn't make it a relative.
Oh, no, I-
Like the 1820s.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's kind of the date on most of them, but the ones that we're exhibiting are specifically just from this area. Yeah, it's really cool. And Michelle, the woman who runs the project, is really knowledgeable about, like, some of the girls shared teachers over different years, and like the teachers had different styles of teaching them embroidery and what the samplers would contain, but it was usually some kind of document where like they were doing their letters and numbers and maybe doing some kind of little saying or something like that.
That's
But
like my favorite thing at the History Museum, at the
Yes.
Historical Society, in Newfane. I haven't seen like the new display since they moved, but in
Uh-huh.
the old one, they had all kinds of the old samplers. Oh,
That's great.
Cool.
Well, we will have 6 in person in a case, and the woman who's running it, Kate, I was gonna have them on this table, but she came with a light meter and like took light readings all over the library and was like, no. So it's gonna be over there. Like, we're kind of gonna upend the new books section a little bit. The staff will be very tolerant, I'm sure. So the samplers are gonna be there through the summer. So we're gonna be a stop on the sampler tour through the summer, and she's doing an event early in June, like right when we open the exhibit.
Light meter because she didn't want them exposed to UV and because that would degrade them, or because there wasn't enough illumination for people to appreciate them properly.
The first one.
Okay.
Yes, it's
Yes.
about degradation
Mhm.
by light, and I don't know if it's her worry so much as the people that own them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They probably have it very well.
The
Yeah.
colors degrade enormously. The one I have has a little window in the back. So you can see the original colors.
oh,
Well,
wow.
And it's extraordinary.
Yeah, light damage is
Yeah.
permanent and irreversible.
One was done for me in 1990.
Wow.
But that's not the same. You
Was
can
it,
borrow that.
was it done by a schoolgirl?
It was done by my sister-in-law, in honor of us buying the house.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it is sweet.
Anyway, that's gonna be great.
Oh, when I saw that on your report, I Googled it, because I was curious.
Yeah,
And there's a big exhibit at the Bennington.
yes,
Museum.
they're one of the
So-
stops.
Oh,
so
Yeah.
it'd be
really
Right,
cool.
there's a bunch of stops, but if you're interested.
She's made a whole map. You
I
can
saw
drive
that,
all over
yeah,
Vermont. You
yeah.
can really go crazy with this. It's and I'm glad we can participate. she was really happy to have a library do it because we're open so much, whereas a lot of the historical societies that are participating are open like 2 hours on Saturdays, you know, or on the first Saturday of the month, but this, people can really come in and see things.
Great.
Did you find out if Fiona can sort
Fiona
of like
can,
cover until I can
yes.
get here?
Yes, I
Okay.
thought I told you, but I did not, but she would be jazzed to have your company,
Awesome. Yeah, I just can't get here probably.
right?
Great.
Embroidery enthusiast Fiona on our staff will be staffing it along with Amber,
Oh,
which I
lovely.
appreciate. I've got some news about grants. We did not get the Association of Rural and Small Libraries Sustainable Libraries grant. We got it once and we did the LED upgrade, and since then I think there's been a lot more people applying for it, and they favor applications from places that have not gotten it yet. So we didn't get that. I had applied for the power walls. We did not get the Vermont Humanities Council's Rapid Response Grant to fund music and movement. But we did receive the Summer Readers Grant from the Children's Literacy Foundation, which provides the free storyteller event and book giveaway that you guys are going to come and scoop ice cream at, or that two lucky trustees will scoop ice cream at. And do we have like a more substantial book sale
Yeah,
brief
we
later?
do.
Um,
I'm
in,
running business.
in short, we had fewer people this year and we made a tiny bit less money, but we made way more with the raffle. Yeah, we made about $200 less money this year than last year. There were also way fewer books, and there were about 150-ish fewer people.
I was kind of wondering how much, you know, the PCS theater group, they did their Broadway field trip that day.
Oh, right,
Like,
right.
You know, it's like, you know, it's kind of a significant portion of like. the
Putney.
middle grade- Like the middle grades at PCS, right?
Yeah.
And like some
Their
parents
parents,
chaperones
yeah.
and. So I was wondering how much that might impact us.
We did have twice as many dinosaurs though.
Mm.
Thanks to Jim.
Turnout.
Thanks to Jim and his
Focus on
family.
the positive.
Huh?
Focus on the positive.
I know. Well, no, I mean, making $3,262.69 is a mega positive, and I
Yeah.
think people loved the raffle and people love the book sale. This isn't,
So if we have we definitely have room to grow back because we didn't hit our mark with the books.
I mean, we didn't have the bake sale either. Like, we don't
No.
know how much we
No.
made with the book sale or with the bake
Bake
sale
sale.
last year, but.
yeah, we didn't separate it out.
Theoretically, it was $200.
It was also just like a nicer day. You know, you really don't know. There were a lot of events last year on the same day. There were a lot of events this year on the same day, but I think it was a mega success. And what I always remind myself of is like people would probably riot if we stopped doing the book sale because people love donating their books. People love coming and buying the books. Like there's a lot of good in it beyond making money.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Here.
all right.
Making friends.
And making friends. Did anyone have any questions for me about the director's report?
All right, committee reports. Who else is on the finance committee with Kevin? Do we have anything to report?
We haven't met.
No,
Okay. Institutional long-range planning?
Nothing. Unless Emily said.
No.
Nothing from the nominating committee or personnel. Policy and bylaws. Janice made me this handy cheat sheet of like things that should be addressed like month by month.
It's wonderful.
And the annual review of our policy and bylaws is on the calendar to be addressed. And so that's, I think, Kevin, Nancy.
I know, I meant to look up who's on it. I know I'm on it.
No, it
Just
looks
four
like just
people.
Kevin.
We have that handy handout.
It's
from-
in here.
Oh, there it is, right. Okay, never mind.
well, Janice was on it, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Well, Janice was on
Yeah.
it, yeah, Janice was on it, Does anybody else want to join the policy? and bylaws?
Specifically saying they do not.
That was the one thing I said, no. I have to do enough of that at work.
Well, maybe we can, once Kevin's back, because I have a sense that Kevin will have a firm understanding of like what might need to happen. We can check in with him and,
So can we just wait till, because I wouldn't wanna
Yeah,
contact him
yeah,
now.
I think we can wait on it. Okay, buildings and grounds.
No, I think I shared with you guys that our lighting project for the outside near the walkways has been delayed. I think I should mention that at a previous board meeting. And if I didn't, it's been delayed. We're gonna be doing it in August. There's
Some health issues with the person. who's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
doing-
yeah.
You did share that.
I did share that, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out there. So that's still in the hopper. And it sounds like the garden committee has been meeting. Oh, is that a different?
Yeah, gardens down the line. a
Oh,
little
sorry,
bit.
sorry.
I have a little bit that Jessica wrote before. Okay,
What's exactly delayed, Emily, the lights?
The lighting
Yeah.
project, yeah. And I think we might have covered that in a prior
Yeah.
meeting.
I'll write it again.
All right.
Is there something about a new sign? I remember that from
So the
last
thing,
year.
the thing about the sign was that the trustees voted to, if we received the big capital grant #1, which we did not receive,
Oh,
that the trustees would
Oh, excuse me.
would like take care of the sign. And that was part of I had you all approve that as part of the grant application, saying like, are you getting money from other sources
Right.
for what? And I included the sign in the project. The sign needs to come after the lighting project because the lighting project brings electricity to the other side of the walkways. And then the intent with the sign is to have it lit up so you can
Mhm.
see the library at night and know where it is.
Mhm.
Which is kind of true now because we have those solar powered Christmas lights on the on the present sign, but the sign is not, that grant wasn't funded.
okay. I didn't
We're
realize it
not
was
chugging
something.
along with the sign.
Okay, fundraising. We have a meeting scheduled on June 4th to talk about the appeal. I don't know if we're gonna have the capacity and time to start to talk about our decisions from the retreat. I sense probably not, that like the appeal really needs to be the priority for that meeting, because I actually don't know if I told you this. I did touch base with Chrissy to see if she would be willing to work with us again this year on our timeline with any changes we might decide to make to the appeal, like knowing at a minimum, there's gonna be text changes and possibly some design or illustration changes, and she is happy to work with us again, but she really has a very strong preference that all the work is complete by the end of July. Cause she's not willing to take it on in August.
Mhm.
And we need to be getting it, we need to approve it at our September meeting in order to get it to CNS for October 1st, in order to get it in the mail for our November mailing.
Mhm.
Remind me who Chrissy.
Chrissy Lee is a local graphic designer, so she designed the appeal we've been working with for the past 2 years. That has like the illustrated sort of look to it. So that was great news, because he's been really, amazing to work with, and we've gotten really great feedback, I think, from the work that she's been doing.
Mhm.
So yes, we'll meet in a couple of weeks to start talking about any changes, or the direction that we want to go with that.
Amber, where is that meeting? I was gonna be out of town, but I am gonna be here, so I didn't.
It'll be here.
Right here.
Yep.
Do we have photographs from our birthday party?
We have some. Jim certainly took.
I mean, I
them.
know that
Sure.
illustrations, but it'd be nice to have some of like,
Yeah,
pictures
but
of all the
some-
events that we've had.
I got.
Yeah, I took some from the birthday party.
Yeah.
Chris Rader got some, Chris from the Reformer got some of Mike reading the
Mhm.
proclamation,
declaration.
yeah. So we do have some photographs,
Uh-huh.
so we could potentially. have
Only
some-
if that's what you all decide, but
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
and
a lot of great community events that have occurred.
I don't know if Emily will be reporting in at that point, but she's been taking this great course on fundraising and has been like sharing little tidbits with me
Yeah.
about stuff she's been learning about fundraising and appeals.
I have a question about that, which is that, Emily, you had needed like a conference with some of us.
Yeah.
And,
You guys are on the committee, but
Yes.
I haven't forced you into any committee work yet.
yeah,
I think I'd like, when I'm getting ready to refine my draft of our fundraising and development plan, which is the thing that I'm writing for this, I was waiting to have for us to do the retreat. To really sort of tuck into some strategic goals, but I would love to share that draft with the two of you before my ultimate presentation for my class and then eventually to the board. So I'll probably be showing that to you in early July.
All right, so I haven't missed anything.
You haven't missed anything. I have
Alright.
not, you guys have been just ready to jump in. You've
That's
been, I'm sorry to leave you guys in a state of cat-like readiness for so long, but no, I haven't been prepared for that. I've mostly just been running fundraising reports and reflecting on them, and then
Mhm.
the retreat was a really big part of, what's going to end up going into that plan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But thanks for asking.
Yeah, I guess I have questions too about fundraising and in relation to the retreat debrief and whether the fundraising committee is going to be like the committee that's sort of like taking
Makes
up
that
this
forward.
mantle and
Yeah.
starting to drive all of this forward, or if we're gonna form a new committee. I know Janice wants to be on the
Oh, good.
committee that sort of drives forward
Great.
the big project, but maybe not like in every appeal
Mhm.
meeting.
Right.
So I ran into that same issue because I had a big capital campaign and I had a regular fundraising committee. And the decision was we have two committees, and it really has worked because when you're at a campaign, it's good to just really be focused.
Yeah,
on-
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Not get rangy with fonts and illustrations about the appeal. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, so I guess. Can I, is this?
We're going to talk about that later.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're talking about it next, so we're
Yeah.
talking about the retreat.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, are you ready
Sure.
to do a little?
Yeah, I mean,
debrief?
I can just give us I have two things that I can say now. One is just a reminder of what we did at the retreat. We were going in, trying to answer the question that people had raised about if we are fundraising, what are we fundraising for? And I think we left with a very clear plan about what that was. So to remind everyone, over a 5-year time frame, we are talking about a building, a structural addition. Is it attached to the library? I'm not, yes. Projects to include meeting spaces, both a larger group meeting space and several smaller private meeting spaces that will allow us to expand library programming and to offer things during library hours that are often difficult to do, as well as provide opportunities for people to do all kinds of things like have a space to meet, make telehealth appointments, etc. We've outlined a rough estimate of the kinds of funds that will be employed and about the time frame that we think is reasonable. And I think everybody left, I don't know, I left pretty pumped that we had made those decisions and had a kind of vision for the future. What we did not do in that meeting is determine next actions to take toward that goal. And so is it within the bounds of this agenda for me to ask folks what those next actions might be and see if the board has any thoughts about what those next steps might entail? Figuring out, like, first of all, what needs to be done to get the ball rolling, but also who would be responsible and some timeframes for over which they would occur. Is that within the bounds of our agenda? Can I do that here?
We have the treat debrief one here, I think so.
Okay.
It seems to me that the next step is to form the
Form the
committee.
committee, yeah.
And see who wants to be on it.
So with this, I mean, this came out of a fundraising question. Is this something that the fundraising committee can take up that doesn't necessarily have to involve the organization of a new subcommittee?
Yeah, we were just talking
I
about
think that's
that.
what Susan was
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
for, because the fundraising committee is doing the appeal, we do the book sale. I think that there's a lot of hats, and that if we had a capital campaign committee or a build an addition on the library committee.
Uh-huh.
I mean, one, it might, like, we have at least one person who's no longer on the board, but who's really enthusiastic about being part of this process.
Mhm,
But might not want to be in every fundraising committee meeting.
mhm.
So it might attract other people in the community too, which my understanding is what happened. When this original library was
Mhm.
built, there were many, many partners in the
Mm,
community that weren't
mhm.
necessarily trustees.
Right.
So in the trust, was there overlap between those two groups, or were they completely separate?
No, just trying to think. Actually, they were all board, well, no, they weren't all board members. We had board members and friend of our organization.
But I meant between.
No,
two, there was
no,
not.
I don't think so.
You probably had more board members to choose from.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Quite a few. If, at that point, we had 14 board
Wow.
members.
Yeah.
Now we're down to 13. So a lot.
Is it within the bounds of the bylaws of the board to have members who are not board members as part of committees?
Yeah,
Yeah, we have.
like the garden committee.
and-
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that is totally okay. To have community
We
members.
also had like honorary members that we could go to, but they weren't responsible for hitting people.
Hmm.
Basically.
Mhm. So it sounds like the formation of this committee, like I feel like there's a creeping consensus that that a committee ought to be formed, and that really is the next action, is to form that committee and have them meet. I don't know if I want to be the person who is heading up that committee.
It seems like it's too late because you're talking.
I
I'm
know.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You've nominated Tracy for chair.
You'll have to learn to be very concise.
Think about being on the bylaws committee and then you would know that.
No, yeah.
Well, right now, if I look at this list, most of us are on the fundraising committee, not all of us, but most of us. Are there people on the fundraising committee that would not want to be part of a specific committee to drive this project forward? Yeah, so you're on it, you're on it, you're on it, I'm on it.
Be there.
And Jessica is on the fundraising committee. Are there people who aren't on the fundraising committee that would want to be part of a committee to create?
I think I would.
Oh, you're on.
Yeah, we gotta get Susan on board. She's great at
Yeah.
Yeah.
building things.
And you're not on fundraising, but you.
No.
And you're so personable. You gotta be personable.
Um,
You can,
I'm not.
can I be like an honorary member who gets an invitation, but not one who's taking a leadership role in this particular one? Is that okay?
So you just want to be a member? Is member an okay word for that? You don't have to, but it's like if you're gonna, okay, if I'm gonna remember to put you on the email, doodle polls for this. Can't we just like put your name next to it on the spreadsheet?
All right, yeah. Yes.
Oh, do you need to plug in?
Yeah, I absolutely. Well, he's not quiet, but the ones that said I've never done this before that are really.
Yeah.
Well, we can check in with Kevin and Jessica about this, but, and also and Janice, but it seems like maybe, Emily, are you willing
It's okay.
to doodle us?
Yeah, I'll doodle you
Like,
guys.
have an initial meeting to talk about next steps?
Sure. I'm
I
gonna go.
think it might be like July.
I know, I'm gonna go away for multiple weeks right after our other fundraising, our fundraising committee meeting, not other fundraising, but I will doodle us and maybe we'll pick a date in July in the first week or two of July. Well, we're having our
Maybe
board
around the
meeting.
board meeting,
I know.
since people are mostly
Yeah.
flat, right?
Does it make sense to do it just before the board meeting?
Oh.
Do we,
It's
and
July
we
8th. Well,
have a one on the 8th, right?
Yeah.
July 8th.
that takes care. Well, if we want to meet earlier at 5, perhaps, or 5:30. 5:30 gives us it 1 hour before this meeting. What do you guys think?
Is this for the fundraising or for the campaign?
For the
The
campaign,
campaign, to start to talk about how to organize ourselves and what.
What the next steps are.
should be.
okay,
Is that what we're calling it? The campaign committee?
I don't know.
So do we know who's on
That's
that?
the first
committee?
order of
Janice,
business.
Susan, Ben,
Fair enough.
Emily.
I think, so what,
I thought the other one's on it.
yeah, it's everyone who's at
Well,
the
actually, I'm
table
on it.
comfortable
She
being
said I was on it.
interested in being on that committee? Are there people at the table who do not want to be part of the conversation? Not part of the conversation, but not part of the committee. Crafting the conversation. And we can check in with Jessica and Kevin, but I can create the agenda and do the posting of all of that
Yay.
for that meeting.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Did we say 5:30 or 5?
I'm going to say 5:30.
5:30, okay.
I heard 5. but
It might be enough time for when, for our initial meeting when we are making some vague plans about next steps.
Mhm.
Up to you guys.
Well,
Yeah,
oh, it's a 5:30.
leading directly into this meeting.
And I'm sorry. What are we calling it?
I think
We
we're gonna
aren't yet.
decide that
Okay.
during the first
During the
meeting.
meeting, okay. All right.
Cool.
Um. Thanks.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We took a great job.
Yeah.
Count, well, with the debate, but I'm talking about just.
In the
organizing
retreat,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
But I appreciated your wrangling of us. Ringmaster.
Town library relationship. The garden committee. Do you wanna,
Sure,
okay,
um,
do you want the notes? from
Yeah,
Jessica's
sure.
email?
well, Jessica, myself, Janice and Frankie met and we discussed further steps, that we decided that Jessica would contact, Rod Payne Myers,
Mhm.
which she did, and he's willing to help us with the design. We did get, and also Emily talked to Matt
Matt
Brothers
Carruthers,
about the bench,
Right.
which will be ready in a couple weeks, I think.
he can have it ready whenever we'd like. We just need to give him 2 or 3 weeks notice.
Okay. So you didn't contact him yet? Okay.
Oh, no,
so-
I mean, I did contact him. He came,
Right, no.
we
but so-
talked about it.
Right.
Yeah, but no, we're
Not
not
just
like pulling the
doing
trigger
it,
on this
right.
yet. No.
Which bench is this?
This is-
Excellent question.
Oh, the tree that came down in the front,
Mhm.
he's made, that's what
Yeah.
he's using to make, a bench.
It's not that he's not like milling it, and it's not a typical bench. It's the tree trunk that he's planing on the top and planing on the bottom, which is what we asked him to do.
Mhm.
So he took the trunk, he built that table, and
Right.
then he took the trunk and kept it for us until we were ready to like have it placed. So it's not like it doesn't have a back or anything like that. So I don't want people to envision that, but it's a trunk.
It's going,
Right. so the-
Benny.
We're sort of, placement is a little bit of an issue because we realized there's a dogwood in that.
right there, yeah.
Right, which we wanted to place it in front of the dogwood, but the dogwood may grow larger. So Jessica is now going to go back to Rob and talk to him about perhaps moving the dogwood to accommodate the bench.
Anyway, and so did you say that the plan is for the area right in front of the library there?
I didn't mention that the plan thus far is to purchase, which we will get the amount for the next meeting, so the board can approve it, a millstone. where people can sit, in the front, have grass, and then the remaining, flagstones that Alec used for the circular area to go around on the base of the millstone.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, so very plain, but
Then just the rest would just be grass.
yeah, open, so
Mm.
people can
Very
stand and talk.
on brand for Putney Library too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that was his suggestion. We had had many iterations of more elaborate ideas, and this seemed like a kind of nice, simple solution. So I guess, so Jessica just emailed tonight that she's gonna go back and talk to Rod about the dogwood and potentially moving that so the bench can go, you know, where the Adirondack chairs are now,
Mhm.
that we actually placed them so we could figure out where the bench would go, which Emily, you said is about 5.5 feet.
Yeah, that's what
Long.
Matt said.
And 1,000 pounds.
It's basically, it was like, the original thing was like, we'll get it here and then we'll move it around. And I was like,
Yeah.
I-
That's what I think.
no, he needs to place it with a tractor. So I'm really glad he came because he kind of like looked at how he would be able to move it in through Rod's parking lot and that whole logistical piece, which was great.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that the lighting committee, that the garden committee is aware of the lighting scheme
Oh, good
and
point.
that Rod is. So I'm going to send that to you guys
That'd be great.
because it's probably out of most of our brains
Yeah, I don't.
at this
I'm
point.
not
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
I don't, yeah, you were here for it, but I think that was very early in your
Yeah,
tenure. So let me make sure that I send that to you guys and that you guys send it to Rod, just so when you're envisioning this, you know what the lighting fixture looks like, you know what the posts look like, you know
Right.
where they're gonna be.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
So is there additional funding somewhere for this?
For the garden?
Yeah, I mean, this
I
this
think-
work at Millstone, this kind of stuff is gonna
I think
require some
they're,
work,
what,
right?
I mean, you let me know. I think the board, before I even came, had allocated money that wasn't
That was for
spent.
that.
Yeah, it was for that. And I think the board has allocated money as you've gone along, as the garden has progressed. So for the aronia, for the seating area, for the trees. So this would be another situation where the garden committee will get quotes and bring a total to the trustees, and the trustees will decide to allocate fundraising money. So it will be from the board. It's not coming from anywhere
Right.
else. The lighting situation is paid for by the town ARPA grant. So that's a different, that is being paid by another pot of money.
Did we already approve money for the bench, or is that gonna be part of all of this?
I think that we didn't pay him for his work with the bench, but he gave me a very reasonable quote. Of course, he gave me the really reasonable quote like 3 years ago. So in my mind, I was like, it was reasonable.
Yeah.
Believe me, guys, you can vote on that. No, I'll find out what that number was and I will, before the next meeting, I'll check with him to make sure, you know, that still holds. I think it was reasonable mostly because it's like the thing already exists. Like he was just like doing some minimal planing and then he was gonna put some hardwood or rot resistant wood underneath it as slats just to keep it up a tiny bit and just keep it from rotting
So
from the
basically,
water.
it's a block.
A log cleaned on the top and the bottom. Yeah.
Is it gonna have a back? Is it gonna be like a?
No.
Just flat?
The bench,
Yeah.
true bench.
True bench. If you can, yeah, bench might be a pretty sophisticated term. But I think it's gonna be great.
And really, hopefully just.
Huh? I know, our pal.
We'll be in touch with Rod. We'll have the money figures, so we can talk about that at the next.
Fair compensation?
We haven't met, but perhaps we should think about the upcoming year.
Yeah, upcoming budget year. Yeah.
Is that something that we can do now? Or should I wait and just contact people outside of,
You want to make a date now?
because who's on it? It's myself,
Jim,
Jim,
Kevin's on.
Kevin. Was there anyone else
This was on it.
Mhm.
Why don't we email afterwards?
Yeah,
because we
that
don't
sounds
have
good.
Kevin?
We'll, yeah, we'll wait a bit. All right, fair enough.
Do you want me to remind you?
That would be lovely.
Okay. And
Special events. Trish, do you have any updates for us that we need to be aware of the upcoming storytelling and s'mores?
No. I guess maybe more a question than an update. You know, I was imagining that we were gonna be providing marshmallows and graham crackers
Yeah.
and chocolate, because those are s'mores, and like the bamboo things. Like
Are
the
there long-
skewers.
are there
those
really long ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's like, we have bamboo skewers that are like this long.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm happy to, if you guys approve the budget for it, I'm happy to purchase those things for the event.
Oh,
Is that where this was
okay.
going?
well, I was just gonna say, yeah,
Okay.
I'll just buy those things. I'm just wondering like how much, like how many, what should I buy? You know?
Who's popular?
I know, I mean, we're gonna have to like limit, we're gonna have to
Yeah.
say like
Yeah.
every person's only allowed to have one.
Oh,
One? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I can't eat them at all, but I'm just like. Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Little spider. Sim's friend. I'm sorry, one is a fine limit for.
Is this event on the 5th like analogous to our like longest night one? Like this is like a celebrating like our shortest night of the year, kind of solstice marker celebration.
Approaching that, yeah, it's right after we close this, so it's at 6 o'clock, so it's still light out. I
Mhm.
don't know that it'll be quite as. I don't know if we're gonna get quite the draw we'd get for the solstice party.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to remember how many people we had at the last solstice party.
That
Which
was
is
substantial.
yeah.
Where you were.
Is this replacing the solstice party or is,
No,
so we have to plan the solstice party before the next meeting?
oh no, this is
This is the summer
this is the
solstice.
midsummer party.
That's why I just asked.
Yeah, sorry, I thought we were
Yeah.
talking about the winter, it's the winter solstice,
Yeah, I
right?
was
Yes.
wondering if we could like get a ballpark idea of how many people might come to like an event like this. By using
Looking at the winter
the
one.
winter one as a gauge.
It's tricky. I don't remember what we recorded as, because not everyone comes inside. So the door count isn't exactly reliable for that. It seemed like it's like 50 people is my guess.
What we might be able to do is just think about the actual materials and food that we bought for that, because we had hot chocolate and we had something
We
else.
had
Brownies.
Had apple cider donuts, and I think
Yeah.
Green Mountain Orchards gave us like I want to say 2 dozen apple cider donuts, which I cut in half. So we had almost 50
Yep.
apple cider donuts.
And they all went, I assume.
Yes, there were children hanging out. I mean, there was no like half of an apple cider
Yeah,
donut.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily like a foolproof
No.
count. And we went through like 3.5 gallons of apple cider.
What if we get enough sticks and materials to make 36 s'mores, since not everyone wants a s'more? Does that seem like a okay amount?
I mean, I think we can. I'll look. I feel like even planning for something like 50. I mean, people are gonna like share skewers and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Some people just like to roast a marshmallow and
Yeah.
not have the chocolate and the graham crackers.
Yep.
Marshmallows, there's like hundreds of them in these bags. Like that's not gonna be the issue. So yeah, I think like 50 on the outside end.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
That makes sense to me. And I think s'mores are not going to be terribly expensive. It might be better to.
To just get
Yeah,
more.
especially the
just- yeah,
marshmallows.
yeah.
It's like, they're just, I don't even know. Awful.
Yeah.
Like, those cards here, it's like, they cost like 2 cents to make. It's not even real.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, Amber, I feel like said you might be there
Could be
and
there.
one other person.
Is it the 5th?
Petty, that's right. So yeah, I mean, I think it would be great to have hands on deck to like help hand these things out, so it's not like a free-for-all. And I was just planning on like telling a story or two and then asking, you know, if there's anybody who's in the circle or there, if they want to share like a poem or a story or whatever.
Mhm.
But that was gonna be the event.
Okay.
Like,
Who was responsible for the fire? The fire
um,
was a problem. of
We had
previous-
Wetwood last
Yeah.
time.
I think there was no like really, really small kindling last time.
Hmm.
And we had Wetwood.
It was,
Mhm.
it was, I tried to get it going.
Yeah.
I
So-
live a half a block away and we have firewood left over, so I can get dry firewood there.
That would be great.
Do you want someone else to be responsible for like little kindling
I
and
think I-
paper
I
and
think I
matches and all that stuff?
Probably have, I think I probably have all of that stuff. So yeah, I can take care of that.
Okay.
This is not that far away. This is what, two,
Really close.
No.
two down. Okay.
Not next Thursday, but the fall.
Mhm.
I'm realizing I need to get the PR out for this right away. So I'll send something to you tomorrow, Trish, for you to thumb this out.
Sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
So firewood, kindling, and tinder.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right. Does,
And we're keeping the library open for bathrooms.
Yeah, I'll be here
Okay,
also,
and we can use one of the folding tables too to set up
of course.
this morning.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, we'll be open.
Did we decide on a drink? Like, do we want a drink?
More cider.
I don't want any more cider on the carpet. Putting my foot down,
I had
guys.
said like just s'mores, but if we want to have like your big gallon of, your 5 gallon thing of
Oh, yeah.
water.
We
Yeah,
have
I
like a
think-
giant igloo cooler. Yeah, we have a giant igloo cooler for water. Yeah.
Did you say it was starting at 6?
Yeah.
And what are people's thoughts on if it's like gonna be pouring rain
Oh, yeah.
or
I
like,
am anti s'mores in the pouring rain. Yeah.
Camper.
Yes, but not like, just only willingly, not like. forced.
so Emily, I know like you probably don't have to cancel events very often because of rain here, but if you have to cancel an event, like how much notice do you like to give out in an email?
Ideally, we know in the morning because just practically speaking, if we're doing a snow cancellation at the earliest, we know the night before
Mhm.
and cancel an event, and then I'll send something out to the newsletter.
Okay, so when would you like to
If-
make that call? Like, if I were to make the call,
If we could decide
ideally,
on
like
June-
Wednesday evening?
Yeah. Good idea, planning for potential disaster.
Maybe when you send the PR out, you can say canceled if raining.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't have
This
a,
event is not rain or shine.
no.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Except
So
that, yeah, the definition of whether it's raining or not is, I'm not sure I.
Check the library website for last minute updates about
There
potential
you
weather
go.
cancellations.
We've done this.
Yes.
Because I feel these phones, this are so isolated too.
I know.
Like, in one place and like 1 mile away. It's-
Well, I
Yeah.
thought about looking,
Yeah.
looking at the weather, because we have our big event coming up,
Oh, right.
which is right before, but right now up to the 3rd, it's beautiful.
Okay.
so yeah, just keeping it simple.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay. Thank you. And then the only other thing to note here is that the Ethan Tapper event was canceled and there's no reschedule.
There's no
on that
reschedule yet.
I mean, I noticed.
What was it or
Yeah.
when? He wrote How to Love a Forest, and he's a local forester. And he was gonna do a presentation here, and book signing, but it did not pan out. He had something else come up. It was supposed to be the 28th, which now feels very merciful. that It's not gonna happen because we've just had so much else going on, and it
We
was
were
gonna,
gonna do it, we were gonna.
Yeah, the
try out
trustees.
hybrid that night, doing like a program in person and on Zoom.
and the
So
trustees
that's
were gonna
kind
do a lot of that. So aren't we,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. This can happen a little bit later in the summer or even in the fall.
Oh,
when-
good.
Yeah.
But it'll happen.
It will happen. Yeah, he's local. He's actually done the event kind of a lot recently, so it might actually be nice to do it in the fall
Mhm.
instead.
Alright. Hold on, finished business, I don't see anything. New business, Emily gave us a bit of the book sale. I feel like that was pretty complete, the book sale debrief. Like, did you have anything to add?
I
Did
think
anyone else?
I don't know, I think it's great that we made the changes that we did in the past, like since the previous book sales. And it looks like, there's not a statistically significant difference between what happened this year and last. It looks like the things that we are doing are sustainable for us, and they're continuing to do their job both to support the library and to help people exchange books. So
was
Yay.
there anything on sort of the logistical end of it that we found out that could inform doing something different next year?
I felt like we really hammered out a lot of things last year
Mhm.
that we made note of, the coupons, alphabetizing the books. The,
Disposal of the books afterwards, the books coming in beforehand, those things all.
Those
work
things all
fluently.
work. Those things work.
Right.
Yeah, they're all behind us.
Right.
I might choose a different, we'll see how pickup goes, but
Yeah.
the company that was gonna pick them up very late in the game were like, okay, the drivers are coming on a Sunday and they expect a tip between $100 and $200. And I was like, we can't do that. That's like not one of the things we do.
Yeah.
And then I said, if you can invoice me, we'll pay $100 this time. And basically I was thinking like, and we're never using you again, but they wouldn't do that. It had to be like off the books tip. And I was like, we don't have capacity to do that.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. And this was very last minute. And I was like, we've had this plan in place for 3 months. Like you could have told me when I was
right.
considering and had more options. But they said if they did it on a normal weekday, that there would be, I'm not sure, I think it was just because they were working on a Sunday where they don't normally work, but no one had said that before. So I'm not sure if
Huh.
we'll stay with this company, but you guys don't handle those logistics anyway, so. But I'll see how it goes. I was not overly pleased with the late reveal on that expectation.
Yeah.
But we did, and that's why the books are still here instead of gone on Sunday.
Yep. Yep.
It's okay. They're in Rhode Island, I guess.
Everybody take a box and visit all the little free libraries.
It's gonna
You
be,
take a box and put it underneath, right?
the book sale drags like the microwave cookery and like the other things. Neighborhood children are gonna love those. No, I felt like it was a mega success. I love that we have the banner now. Yeah, I think I like that the dinosaurs are becoming synonymous with the book sale.
Yeah.
Or just
Just synonymous with the
library, period.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing. I didn't have any major like, oh, next year we should blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We've kind of like gotten into a mode with it, and I love all of the trustee participation and support. And I think making the raffle robust was really great.
Yeah.
I copied and pasted. I had like information on how many tickets were in each basket, and I copied and pasted that under the, on the next page of the document where we were tracking who donated what or who to ask. And next year, just so we remember, like, oh, it would be really, it seemed like the handcrafted items, a lot of people put tickets in for those. The biggest ticket one was the shawl and mug combo, which Amber.
Yeah.
And the second biggest was the cat that Sarah Wiles knit with like the knit, with the knitting kit from the spinnery and the general store. Everyone wanted the cat. The cat developed a lot of buzz.
Too, like for anyone who collected, we've put information about like have they donated in the past, but I definitely heard that there was also reluctance, like it was a stretch for some people who were asked, and that was apparent. And so I don't know if there's an easy way to note that on the form, maybe like don't ask
Them next year,
these
yes,
businesses every year.
definitely,
Because they
please
felt
do
like
that.
maybe an obligation, but like
I made
it wasn't
notes.
easy.
I made or like people who saw the raffle and were like, oh, ask me next year. I put them on the list, and instead of like, did they give this year, I just wrote wants to be asked next year.
Okay.
But I think I can edit that and make a notes column. I know that sheet also got really funky and was like, I fixed it. I fixed it. I finally, now that the book sale's over, had like 2 brain cells to rub together to like get in there and like figure out what was wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
I won't go into what. was
Copied
on-
and pasted, I made a copy of a document that Janice had originally
Mhm.
created, and I thought I understood what was going on.
It brought over some funky formatting, but I fixed it.
Yeah.
It's all, everything, it just says everything once, which is helpful. It was
Yeah.
really confusing. But I'll make a notes column in that, so that we can write things like what you're talking about, so that we don't ask anyone to death. 'Cause
Yeah,
we
I would
definitely
love
don't want to do that.
Yeah, because I know also a lot of people I asked were very enthusiastic. I'm like,
Totally.
Come back and get more stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
Feel free to ask us. Okay.
Awesome. That was also coveted. All right.
Okay.
And people are really excited when you call and tell them that they want to wrap
That's
up.
Text them in all caps.
Yes. I was really enthusiastic about Amber winning. Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone else have any tidbits or any takeaways or recommendations? Nancy, this was your first book sale wild ride.
That was fun, you know, I read the news and then I come in and I just see people being peaceable,
Mhm.
friendly, and a
Yep.
crowd, but everything is flowing and it's just very positive.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
just-
It seemed like what I noticed is that we moved a ton of books, is like at the end of the first day, almost everything that had been in boxes on the floor had moved up to a table, which was great. I think that in past years, we're packing up and we still have floor books, which also means like we had fewer books, but I think I've mentioned this to several of you, a lot of it was weeded books from our collection from during COVID that we've had put out over the last 2 years. And I don't think those are big movers. They're usually weeded from the collection because they haven't gone out in 10+ years.
Mhm.
So it's not like people are, tripping over themselves to buy those. One thing is we did not hit our storage max, which is fine. Like we didn't fill the back closet this time, and that's okay. But we filled all of the other nooks that we usually fill, and my aim is to not have basement books, because it's just so punishing to bring them up. The Putney school students all showed up at just the right time to bring them up out of the basement to put them out. But bringing things down the stairs and then back up the stairs, those heavy boxes, is not my idea of a good time. But we might potentially accept, dare I say it, like 3 boxes per family next time. I don't know. I know. But we could potentially accept some more books.
Do you have a sense of how many people donated?
Oh, I really don't. Because some people would come in and be like, these are for the book sale, and they'd have like
Yeah.
2 books,
Yeah.
and then some people the morning of Friday left 7 garbage bags,
Oh my
like that they
goodness.
dumped outside, which is,
Oh my God.
Oh, I
Not-
saw that when
We
I was-
profiled this
I
person because it was a
Wow.
very
yeah,
niche, like genre.
Amber's developed a psychological profile of the offender.
Military, historic.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's
That was a man.
It was
Yeah.
Amber's grandfather did.
People from Pennsylvania.
It's actually great that only happened once. So
Oh.
other times, it's just like you try to come in to be open, and they're just piled in front of the front door, and it's like, it's crazy. But for the most part, I think we've done a good job with PR about like only bring stuff during
Yeah.
hours, like only bring this much stuff. Like people are in the habit of the 2 boxes, so we could expand that a little bit. But
Yeah.
that would be my only thing, is that we could potentially have more stock.
One observation on Saturday morning, and maybe this is like Scroogey or counting pennies, but I'm not sure the way we're doing the totes is benefiting us.
Okay,
Because I think we're sort of pointing out to people like,
you could.
oh, you could get these cheaper if you filled this tote
Mhm.
for $30 instead
Yeah.
of like buying them,
That
by
is
the
true.
title. And maybe it's not like a ton, and I don't know how many people did like the tote deal.
We did, I would say we did fewer than 10 totes.
Okay,
but
so maybe it's not that big of a.
When you guys sell a tote, $11 of that is profit anyway.
Mhm.
But I can see, yeah, I know what you mean. And I have been like, should this be more? Should it be $40?
Yeah, or just even, well, I mean, or just, yeah.
We assign a value to the publicity that goes with carrying a tote around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
it's
is also that.
They're working for us when they leave.
Ha, ha,
Yeah.
ha, ha.
If if someone brings their tote from last year,
No,
are we, like,
no, people have tried it and
Oh,
no,
really?
it doesn't.
Okay,
Yes,
Oh, I
they were like, I'm doing the tote deal and they show me some other tote that's giant and I'm like, no, the tote deal is this tote.
right.
Your own tote.
It's not like a coffee cup.
No, you can't just bring like your gigantic IKEA tote and fill that for
What are
people.
we charging for
30,
totes
30, okay, so a
at the
tote
book sale?
at the book sale to fill it is
I
$30.
think we could charge more.
We could charge $40 next year.
So we're essentially making $11 off the tote itself.
Plus $10
Well.
for the book
Not
filters.
taking $11 off the tote, because if you sold it just as a tote.
It would
some
be
other day,
$11. You would make
Yeah.
$11.
Right, so you're not getting.
You're not getting. I'm seeing it as like, listen, people gave us those
we
books
need a
for free.
black-
It's true.
But if they were to buy, well, how many books do, like,
I mean, people are buying the totes if they see they have more than $30
Right,
worth
right.
of books in there.
And
So
then, and they
that's
think
like-
they can fit it in there, but we could do that. We can also raise the book prices to $5 and $3.
Yeah, my sense was that the price of the books was just not a factor in people's calculation much. Because, I mean, it's so cheap compared to what
know.
books cost.
Yet so expensive compared to the business we usually do where we're just lending
just
things for free.
It's like the own the book.
Well, that's his own whole thing, but there's a lot of people we only see during book sale time because they don't borrow books, they only buy books. But we could potentially raise the price, right? Raise the prices of the books. We could raise the prices of the tote bags. Raise the book prices. I'm thinking.
I mean, I think that's what we saw, like, we have seen these giant increases this year and last year, but that also, it's not that we saw more books coming out, like, we doubled the price of the books, and that sort of like was.
Right, that was a big
equated
part.
To like
Oh,
that
we-
doubling
we
and
did that last.
what we brought in.
No.
Last year.
No, last year was the first year that we had the higher book prices. So it used to be $2, $1. And then the second day was fill a box by donation. Which if you want to get Scroogey, that's the day to get to be like, you're gonna sell all these books and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it also moves a lot of books out the door. So we could raise the price.
Yeah, that, like,
Right.
it's like we were all saying, like, I love it.
Yeah.
Love coming in here and.
I was thinking about for our ongoing book sale, and honestly, if we do it there, we kind of have to do it for the big book sale, the ongoing book sale, like just like the little shelves right inside the door. I was thinking about raising those prices to $5 for a hardcover and $3 for a paperback. Last time we raised prices, I was like, people are gonna riot. It's like $2, you know, like it's $2 more or
It's going to.
I know. Plus, it's like a new hardback that would have cost whatever
Right.
that costs now.
Experienced goods is like. I wanna say that's like what they're charging right now for books. and
That's a great
Yeah.
place to look, right?
it's like-
Mhm.
Cause that's like. Right, it's an umbrella. It's
Mhm.
not like it's a used bookstore where they're like valuing.
Right,
each
right, right.
book.
Right.
It's,
Well, and
Right.
neither are we. Right?
Yeah.
so. I don't think 3 and 5 is. a question.
Yeah, I don't, my impression from sitting behind the counter
Yeah,
was that people, the price point was just really not an issue.
right.
Uh,
Right, and half price day could be, instead of saying $2.50 and $1.50, it's 2 for $5, 2 for $3. You have to get to.
There you go. And then by donation for the last half hour.
Something
when you
like
don't
that.
tell People at advance. I don't know, something,
We just ring
to-
a bell.
to move them. Right, exactly. ring a
Yeah,
bell.
yeah. I think that is how we did it the first time, just because I was like, this is too many
Yeah,
books.
get 'em
We had
outta
to
here.
get them out of here.
Mhm.
It was impromptu.
The other question I had for you, which. Maybe you won't have close at hand, but I wondered, Emily and I sort of made the decision to change the raffle ticket
Oh, right.
prices. To be like this, like 12 for 10, to
So
see
it-
if we could get more people like.
Honestly, we didn't change the price. The price was exactly the same, but the deal was no longer $5 for 6 tickets. We changed it to $10 for 12 tickets, which is the
Right.
same, but
Right.
when you say that, it's like, oh, the deal is $10 for 12 tickets. So many people were like, oh, I'll take 10. You know,
Yeah.
$10.
If you saw that
Absolutely,
happen.
absolutely.
Price point, not important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but way more people gave us $10 instead of $5, because I think it's just like
It's
it's on
the
the sign.
suggestion,
Yeah,
right.
it's a suggestion. And so a couple people got, oh, I'll take $20 worth and I'll do 24 tickets.
Wow.
Um, Huh?
I hope they won.
I
something.
do too.
Mhm.
13 lucky winners. Also, we joked that next year we need to have a raffle prize, and the only people that can enter it are people that say they never win raffles. Because there's a lot of those people. We could start whittling away at the population that thinks they never win raffles.
I've ever won a raffle before. I mean, I'm not like a raffle, like.
A raffle goer, a gambler,
very
yeah.
often.
Well, that scarf looks great on you. You can start a whole
Oh,
raffle
that's
thing.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is like necessary, but I thought of it today when I was in the children's room and one of the kids went up to Julie and was like, "Did I win? Did I win
Aw.
the thing?" And Julie's like, "Oh, I don't think so. You know, if you didn't get a call, maybe we can like post the winners for a week or something. Just have a list of like the different prizes and their names." Not you. Yeah. I don't know.
Some
Just
guy.
so for the next like week or two afterwards, as people come in, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it's also like more
Like, who won the thing that I really wanted?
like it's also more
So you could-
more advertising,
get
but
from-
more people for the next couple
That's
of
true.
weeks will see that we had a raffle and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, next year,"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or whatever.
I also wonder, like, you had one kid thing, I wonder. if
I
they
know, we
wanted-
need more kid things in the raffle. I agree with that.
And that's one of the donors that was enthusiastic about like, do you want to come back? Do you want more? Like,
That's
do you
great.
want- do you like, can I put more stuff in his tote? So,
Oh.
so they
Um,
were open.
The grammar
to
school
giving.
also wanted to make a basket for us.
Oh,
So
nice.
organizations might donate baskets too, even places that don't supply
That's cool.
products. Yeah. So I put that in the spreadsheet. Yeah, I definitely think we need more kids things in the raffles, and we could post the winners. I wish I had done that in the newsletter.
Who's next time?
I know, post winners of raffle. I told the person that won the mushroom mug that she should hide it under her coat. Because people would break into her house because it was really coveted in the raffle. I don't actually think people will break into people's houses for the raffle prizes,
But
but
all those people know she might not be making slugs anymore. Maybe that's.
They were so cute.
well, I know those were,
So
really-
those are all done by the same person?
yeah, all 3 months were,
They were wonderful.
no, they were really great, but those eye-catching things, I think also the syrup I think like the syrup really drew people's eyes, like
Mhm.
some of the tickets are great, like the Yellow Barn and Next Stage tickets are incredible, but just like there's no
Visually.
stuffed cat. There's no like 3-dimensional thing, but I think especially maybe for a lot of kids put tickets in or parents bought kids tickets. So having more kids stuff is a good idea. Also, I noticed we had the kids thing like in the highest place. So we need to change that for next time. Well,
Well,
got
and if
some
we
good
get more
suggestions.
kids things, we could, not that it's a separate raffle, but we could have all the kids things kind of over
Yeah,
in like a little area that's lower and.
we need children to gamble more.
Gambling at a young age.
Might as well.
Started with that library raffle.
Getting of your next short story.
No, that was great. Thank you all so much. It also, I really hope that nobody felt like it was a ton of work on them, because I certainly didn't feel that way. It just felt so good to have everybody take pieces of it. And that was great, especially really like shined to me during when we were breaking everything down, because I was like, oh, these people know what to do. They know where the tables go. I can let you guys do that, and I can like put the computers back up or get the library back in order. And it just meant a lot to be like, Ben, can you take down the sign? Or just like for you guys to be able to do that instead of me being here for 3 hours. Yay. That was great. Thank you all. And thank you, Penny,
Thank you.
and everyone who made awesome food for Friday night. That was really a treat. And everybody that came to the party remarked on how great the food was and what a treat it was.
Yay.
Okay, everybody remembers we agreed to move the June meeting to July 8th. Unfortunately, I think the only people who didn't know about that before
Are also not here.
yet.
Yeah.
I will reach out to them.
Thank you.
directly.
And now we're meeting at 5:30.
And if,
The
Yes.
fundraiser
Well, yeah.
for whoever's interested.
Yes. yeah. Emily, you want some money from us?
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. I have the old draft of the agenda, which doesn't say that, but I do want money from you guys in 2 buckets. Actually, No, I think I will have you guys approve this now, and if we don't need it, we won't spend it. The first thing is that the trustees traditionally approve 2,000 additional dollars for books at this late part of the fiscal year, $1,000 for kids and $1,000 for adults, and I would love it if you wanted to do that again this year. Out of fundraising money.
Do we move that?
Yeah,
Do we have to? Yeah, so moved.
I think, do we need a motion?
I think you have to make. a
Yeah,
motion.
make
I'm making, so I would move that we give $2,000 to the library, $1,000 for adult books and $1,000 for kids' books.
A second. Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Thanks, guys. The other thing I kind of primed you for, which was that the grant that we received to get the music and movement program, which has been really popular and successful, and a big supporter of one of our strategic plan goals of having more things for children ages 0 to 5 and their caregivers at times that work for those people. The grant that we got for that hasn't shown up again, and we don't know if it will. And I had told you guys a couple meetings back that I might ask you for this. We did apply for the rapid response grant, which even though it sounds like it's an emergency grant, Julia went to a summer reading conference idea session, and someone from the Humanities Council was really encouraging people whose funding for things had disappeared to apply for this grant. So Julia did, but we didn't receive it. So we would like to request $2,500 for next fiscal year to continue the music and movement program that is on Saturday mornings. Generally, or like in this last year, they did every Saturday in July and then went twice a month after that, except for I think maybe December, or there was maybe 1 month where they didn't do twice a month. But $2,500 covers Sarah and Stu Fuchs coming to do that program on Saturday mornings, and we would love it if the board would support that. I'm intending to apply for another grant that opens in the fall to potentially cover this. So if, you know, we will need money for it starting July 1st, which is why I'm asking you about it now. But if another source of funding comes along, I won't use all, we won't use all of the $2,500 that the board.
So you dispense that as you go along.
Right, exactly.
And how many kids roughly, or
We get, I think
kids and
the
caregiver?
the cruising altitude is about 13 participants, which is really good. So that's a mixture of really small people and their adults.
Mhm. And so it's 20 or so sessions.
Right. Well, let me try to think.
Well,
So it's for 11 months. It's like, so it's,
So
yeah,
it's 25 sessions.
yeah,
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, $100 a session.
Have you applied to the Putney Foundation at all?
Not for this particular thing, but one of the strategic goals in my fundraising development thing is to hit up the foundations more regularly.
Yeah, because I think this is right after our.
Okay, no, that's
Which foundations?
the Wyndham Foundation.
Wyndham Foundation.
When we did the Constitution and Comics Camp, we did get funding from the Wyndham Foundation and Ben and Jerry's and Vermont Community Foundation, all of these different places to patch that together. And I think that I'm going to hopefully be pursuing regular grants from some of the foundations that we've gotten grants from before for things like this that we want to continue doing. So that we can say, you have funded, you funded music and movement last year. We'd love to continue this program and give, some statistics and things, but I haven't done that yet. That's why I'm asking you guys to cover it, just to make sure that we can make a plan with Sarah and Stu and that we don't really miss any time, especially because July is the time that they do every week.
Make a motion that we approve $2,500 for music and movement.
Seconded. Jinx.
Any questions? All in favor?
Yay, thanks, guys. That was all the money I was gonna ask you for. Try to group my wants.
We're into the groove.
I know, like.
It's a group.
We're all fundraised from the books.
I know. I wait till you guys are feeling money now. I kind of just did. We did.
Easy.
It's true. Well, hopefully for that one, I'll like get one of the other things that we have our eyes on, but I just want to ensure that we don't have like some kind of, I think for things like this, it's great when you're in a groove and it's like, this happens twice a month.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
people that always come and then it's like, oh, we lost funding. We didn't do it for 3 months and then try to
Yeah.
reestablish
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing. So let's, if you guys are, it seems like you're all willing and in support of it,
Sounds
so
good.
appreciative. Cool.
Oh, there are two trustees who might be around to help. So essentially, per Emily's mention in the director's report on July 10th, it's one of the summer reading program days when the Cliff Foundation is doing a presentation and they also have ice cream available for the kids that come. And so she's hoping there can be two trustees scooping out, like pre-scooping, to put dishes of ice
Oh,
cream
I
out
did
for the
that last
kids
year.
once
I
they're
did that.
finishing up.
What time of day?
So 4:30 is when she's asking for. The presentation is 4 to 5,
And 4:30, and it's the 10th or the 11th?
the 10th.
What day?
The
It
Thursday.
is Thursday, yeah. And I'm away at my fundraising, the only in-person meeting of my fundraising class is July 10th. This is gonna be a really good event. I think I'm gonna miss it, but it's an ice cream party, but the presenter is a storyteller and it's Anne Braden this year.
Oh,
Which is
fun.
really exciting, and it's also a book giveaway, so every kid that comes gets 2 free books, and the books they give away are really good. Like they really make it a point to have high quality books that they select really intentionally.
I think-
Yeah.
I did it last year.
Okay.
So
It
it
was
was-
10, I think we'll probably cover. You can tell Julia. she'll have
Okay, she'll have a
lot of
crew.
trustees.
Can we all come? Can we all?
You can all come.
We get ice cream.
All leftover ice cream, so I need you guys.
Yes, you need us.
Yes. It's a great vibe.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, and then one.
And then the tent
The
setup.
tent setup,
Yeah.
Julia does want to have, I think she has several summer reading things that are really messy that she wants to have outside. So even though she's been doing more stuff indoors now that COVID is less of a factor, she still wants the big top set up out back, and I'm gonna be gone for a lot of June, but she has recently stated that it would be great if the tent could be set up. We've done it, I think a lot of you have helped me with it before with your families. And if there was a day that a group of you wanted to gather and put it up, it takes maybe an hour.
What's the time frame?
Anytime before July 9th is the first summer reading program. So
Okay.
actually, it could be when I'm back, like it could be, well, the first week in July is leading up to the 4th of July.
So
And
it doesn't make sense to do it like next week because that would be up there forever.
it doesn't, it's not
So it wouldn't be
harmful.
used until July.
It wouldn't be used until July. It's not harmful to have it set up longer.
Well, and it was kind of it was pretty
Getting
dusty.
dingy,
And,
yeah.
I was well taking it down. I
Yeah.
guess, not putting it up, and
So
it's clearly if it's up for a long time, it starts getting kind of,
It gets leaves on it, it gets kind of.
it's moldy and.
Ooh.
I propose then like, how about the week of June 29th? Somewhere in there, that would be the week. What'd you say? It needed to be up for July 9th,
July 9th.
which would be the Wednesday of the following week.
So it's first week in July, basically,
Oh, so you,
non-full week.
oh, okay, the week of, I get it. Week of
June, July.
If you guys do it on Wednesday the 2nd, I'll have just flown in. and can help. Are people around that week though? 'Cause it's really
If it's on
good.
a Wednesday, I think so.
That should be right.
I will have to chime in because I didn't bring my calendar.
That's okay. Do you all want me to send an email gauging availability for Wednesday, July 2nd?
That'd be good.
Okay. Tent? Great.
Figure. Okay. Yes. Oh, I guess it was Trish.
Hmm.
Were you here or your husband was here when we were
Yeah.
taking it down? It was helpful to have somebody who would actually. It's kind of makes sense how it works, but it's not entirely
Oh, to
clear.
take
If
it
it was
down.
all newbies, it might be a lot of wasted time.
Yeah, I feel like Alan and I have done it the last
Yeah.
few times with some different help, but we won't be. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be in
Which-
northern Vermont that week.
And I was involved in taking it down, I could probably remember. But
Mhm.
if there's some, if you were around,
Yeah.
you'll be back.
I will
by
be
then.
back by
Wouldn't
then.
have to participate.
I can
but we could come
advise.
upstairs and say, what do we do now?
Yeah.
I could,
Where's this?
when we have a lot of people, it goes really fast, which is great. That would be great. I
Yeah.
will be back, possibly very jet lagged, but I'll be back. It's my intent. Also, I guess this is kind of it's at my discretion, but I'm thinking about whether or not we're gonna open for 3 hours on Saturday, July 5th, or just remain closed.
What day?
It's Saturday.
The day after the.
It's so the 4th of July, which we're closed, is the Friday. Did we all come in?
No.
No,
No.
just give her some.
Just take a long weekend.
Heck yeah.
Also for the
You
board.
could Stay in Europe for.
I know, right?
Yeah, right.
Another time.
Huh?
Where you guys going?
We're going to Greece.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll report back. I always put a picture of me at some exotic library in my director's vacation.
Yes.
I'm doing research for library programs. I
Yeah,
see.
right.
Okay, yeah.
Everything here is on scrolls.
Guys, we gotta get,
Guys, we're.
yeah. We're gonna take things to the previous direction. All
All
right,
right,
great.
do we have any other business?
Heat pump update was on the new.
Yeah, we
business.
Oh,
took
Do we
that
have
off.
an update?
The
never mind.
update was that I talked to Karen Astley about it and she said, let me look into it and I'll get back to you. And now I need to shake her down a little bit and see where she's at with it.
No public for comments. Next board meeting, July 8th, 6:30, except all of us are coming at 5:30.
Yeah.
I wanted, we passed, like, since COVID has dissipated, we've often had a little
Fiesta?
fiesta following the final board meeting before we break for the summer. If people feel like they want to do that,
I love a party. Let's do it.
it'll be a long day. We'll have been here since 5:30, but.
I was like, oh,
Yours left over?
Well,
I know, sharpen sticks. I was gonna say, we'll do the meeting and the party out at the fire pit, but we have to do this, like, and the meeting owl out at the party.
Oh, motion to adjourn at 7:56. All in favor?
Sure.
Yay.
Thank you all.
Guys,
Was the meeting owl expensive?
It was incredibly expensive, but we got it with a